I'm Patrick Bailey with whiteboardcoder.com. Today is July 26, 2020, and in this video I'm going to be installing and testing some Rainbird valves, model number 100HV NPT, on my sprinkler system. Okay, this summer we're working on our backyard. We had a house built last year, and it came with a dirt backyard for us to landscape ourselves, which is a blessing and a curse at the same time. So, as part of this, we're adding a sprinkler system to the backyard. And so today what I want to do is I want to clean up my existing sprinkler system and add some more valves to it. So with that, just to go over what we're going to do, I'm going to dig down a little bit, put down some weed barrier, build up some rock base underneath the sprinkler valve system, clean up some of the piping, and then install 3 new valves. So here I've already ordered a bunch of valves, so I got these to install. And then put down some new sprinkler boxes, the boxes that cover, the sprinklers when you're all done. So that's the basis of what I'm going to do today. And with that, let me go over some interesting information. Now, I've done some videos on some sprinklers so far, like some tests and different things. So I'll put links in the show notes to what I did. Here was I did a mock-up. Here I was installing a hose bib. And on this video, I put in new sprinkler wire because where I have it right now, I can do up to, I'm going to be doing 7 valves on this side, but I only had enough sprinkler wire to do, I think, 5. So I got some sprinkler wire. I could do up to 9, so I should be set now, and I had to go rewire it. Then, just to give some details and links in the show notes, this is the one I'm using. This is the Rainbird they got a lot of different. This is the model. There's different models, but this is the model page for the one I'm using. And what I did for this one is I actually bought these at the sprinkler supply store. It's probably the best deal I found out there, because I ended up buying 13. I'm going to put some on this side, but I'm also putting some on the other side of my house for my backyard. But that's going to be further down the line. But this is where I got them at. They've done good by me, but if you want to order from them, they're not going to give it to you tomorrow. It might take a week or so to get to them, but they got great deals, good prices. So plan ahead. I'm very happy with them so far. And also one reason I got stuff from them was this. You'll see this as I do this. I love these manifold. This is what I found on the ones, the guys who built my house. They put these on here for the front yard, and they're really cool because we can evenly space out all the sprinklers. So this is one of the few places I found where I could actually buy them. So I bought a bunch from them, and I think I'm going to like them. Okay, then going over some of the stuff I bought. For this, I'm actually going to be making something like this. I'm going to tie it in, have the valve, and then do this and have it come out to the end for testing purposes. Then later on, I'll cut this and actually finish the rest of it. But I want to just do this for testing purposes. So I have this on the end with a knob on it. This is actually a 3D thing I printed so that I can do some testing, and I can even attach a hose bib to it. So that's what I have. There's a cap that I bought for it. There is this guy, let's see. Oh, and here is the hose bib attachment, which I had here just a second ago. There's a brass hose bib attachment that'll attach just fine to this 3/4. Then I can attach a hose to it. Just makes it easier for testing for me. And also, for those who might be interested, I did 3D print this thing, so I have a hand valve, and that wraps around the existing PVC cap, and I'll go over that. For anyone who's interested or has a 3D printer, it's an interesting thing. Then also I bought a couple of valve boxes, a couple of regular size valve boxes, and I did buy a large one. I think that's going to work out. I think I need 2 small and 1 big to cover up what I've made on this side. So with that, I guess last thing I can kind of go over kind of what I spent for just this part. So I'm putting in 3 manifold valves. That's about $45. I got 7 of these manifold, whatever they're calling them, I forget what they call them. These little plastic pieces, that's about $27. Miscellaneous PVC parts, about $20. And then sprinkler boxes, since I spent about $81. So in total, this whole project, just for this size, and it cost me about $173 to get done. But I think it'll look good in the end. So with that, let's get to work. Okay, so here's what I got existing. And I have changed it up from what it originally was a little bit. Because with existing, we had a pipe come down here and over here. And this is my stuff to my front yard, my 4 valves. I'm going to add 3 more because I intend to run some pipe here on this side. But also I did add all this recently, and I did a video on that, where I have all these valves to help me to blow stuff out easier and close things off. But also I have this one that goes all the way around the house to the other side. And that's like basically a water line. I have another sprinkler set up on my other side to control the other part of my backyard. But my plan today
is I'm going to dig all this down a little bit, because I need to go a little further out, and then I want to put a weed barrier down, and then put a bunch of rocks over it. So that's going to be my next step right now, is do some digging and get a weed barrier underneath this. Okay, so what I've done is I kind of disassembled everything here. I dug down a couple inches, kind of flattened it out. I even got a little tapper and tapped it down a little flatter. And now I'm going to roll out this weed barrier and stake it down, and I'm going to pile up the rocks. So let me just roll a little bit of this here right now. That nice here in the corner too. So I'm going to go do overkill, put a bunch of staples in here, even staples down there, and then do all the rest of this and get the rocks. Okay, so I got all the weed barrier down like I want. I got it all stapled down, so I think we should be good. Now I'm going to start moving some rocks, and I want to build that up pretty thick so I don't have to deal with it ever again. So that's the next thing, is getting all these rocks in. Okay, so I got all my rock in as best I can right now. I'm going to probably put more in once I bury this trench, so I can't put this over as far as I'd like to right now. But I think I'm good to go. So what I've done is I've kind of put everything that was back. I got some new manifolds, and then of course use lots of plumber's tape. You want to make sure these things don't leak, and I got them on there about as tight as I could, so I think I'm pretty good with putting these back. But now the important thing, what I plan to do, is this is going to be here, that's going to be there, I'm going to have to put a pipe between, and then my third section is going to be my new 3 that I'm going to put in here. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put them in exactly like this, and have a little tube that comes out further than this, that's actually going to go beyond where it should go, and just put a cap on right now for testing purposes, knowing I'm going to cut it later on, and then, you know, put the actual pipe in. But I just want to test it right now. But one thing to note, as you put all these things out here, if you intend to put boxes on, like the boxes that cover up your sprinklers, you got to make sure they're spaced out correctly. Otherwise, your boxes aren't going to fit. So I already took mine. I'll show you a little bit later. And a big box fits over this just fine, and with where I can still turn the levers. And a small box fits over that just fine, but I need another small box. And a large box, I couldn't put all 7 of these next to each other. It wouldn't fit in a large box. So I got 2 small boxes, but I need to put some space in between them. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So that's the rough plan. And so I'll show a little bit of what I'm doing here, because I need to do some cement here. So here's another tool. I don't know if I mentioned this thing. I love this tool because it's awesome. So I should probably put some links to this, but this tool is really great for cutting this pipe in one fell swoop. So I can go right about there. And there you're done. So it's a really nice way to cut this thick pipe. And then what I need to do, I gotta start attaching this all up. And if you're not familiar with gluing, I had a whole video on gluing I did. Maybe I'll put a link to it. But I don't have my gloves on. I'm doing this without. Let me get my protective gloves on so I don't get chemicals all over myself. So let me go get that. So yeah, I got my gloves on. And I have not opened these ones yet. Okay, they're being little boogers. Eesh. That was on there really good. So for this purple primer stuff, what I've been told, and it seems to work okay, is to go around this 30 times. Not so much the number, I think it slows you down and makes sure that you're getting everything covered really well. Probably should have opened this one before, hopefully. Oh man, these are tight. Okay, now this stuff, cement. Pour that on, get that on there. I don't really do 30 times, but I do a few. Get in there. And then you got to push in here, turn it. You got to hold it for about 30 seconds, otherwise it'll pop out. It'll like force itself out a little bit, so you got to hold it for about 30 seconds. Okay, now we're good. Now it does take, I forget what the cure time is, like a couple hours, or you can leave it overnight to make sure it really cures pretty well. But then these, I'm going to have to glue this to this, but all these come apart too. So these are new ones. I'm going to have to glue every single one into each other one. So I'll probably be a little bit boring filming that, so I'll just go ahead and get that done. It's a little windy right now, so we'll see how good you can hear me. So I got all this glued up. You can see what I've done here. It's all separated real nice. And I've given it a couple hours to cure, so it should be good. Now, a couple things. Make sure you put that plumber's tape on those threads. But I've got these 3 new ones in here, and so what I'm doing right now, if I can move her, I got these 3 lines coming down here, knowing I'm going to cut them off and replace them and put like 90-degree bends in here and put the pipe down here. But for the moment, I just want to get them connected and tested. That's why I put these on the end. So I'm going to put this on the end. It's threaded just to cap it right now before I turn it on. But what I have done is I've 3D printed these. So I have a 3D printer, so I designed these so that I can push these in. And it's got a little cap just to make sure I hold it in. And that way I can adjust it I can tighten these by hand. Versus, otherwise you have to use a crescent wrench because it's just you have to get them nice and tight, otherwise it's going to leak. So, in a second here, this will be my first test to see how good a job I did or not. Okay, so all that's on. And now let's use all my fun valves. So I never turned the water off here, so this is actually good to go. I got this closed off. And so let me open up this one, but this is closed, so we'll see. In a second. This should all be filled right here. And then hopefully I don't see a bunch of leaks when I do this. As it fills everything up. And pressurizes. I hear lots of scary noises, but I think I'm okay. That would be why this lever's... Oh. This is on. Oh, one of those accidentally got turned on, so that's why. Okay. I wonder why I was running so long. No, it's just one of these... even though these are controlled by the sprinkler valve, my wife is asking to want them to go off. But these valves you can turn by hand. So I can do that. And I can see my sprinklers turned on. So it's a nice way to test it without, before you turn it on. So right now, I don't see any leaks. So, good. Okay, so now for this fun testing. So what I've done is these valves, I'm pressurized, but these valves are tight, so we should be okay. So I just want to make sure they're working, so I will loosen this. But those were always tight, so there shouldn't be any water in here in theory. He says, hopefully. So let me loosen that. Yay, no water came out. But this is where I have this brass fitting I bought. So I can put that over. And then, oops, I forgot my other piece, didn't I? Oh, give me a second. Let me get my other piece. I forgot the other part of the brass fitting. Helps to have the other piece of the brass fitting I forgot. And then now, I should be good. And I'm getting squirted. So much for that test. Okay, I gotta go work on my brass fittings. Okay, I was being dumb. I bought so many brass fittings and different things for different reasons, but these 3/4 inch, you can just put the hose on. I was being stupid. You don't need a brass fitting, so I'll have to move that. But now that I've opened this up, I've scared them with sprayer. That's a good test. So I can, come here. It's closed now. There's a little pressure, so water pressure will go down. Because I just closed it by hand. So you can see it's going down. Now I can open it. There we go. Well, that time. There we go. So that's an easy way for me to test. So now I can get all the boxes set up, but I need to go. It's a simple way for me to test right now because I can go get this all wired up and then plug this in, do a test, and make sure I got everything done correctly. So next, I should probably go wire it up. Okay, now we need to get this connected up. I did a horrible job at the beginning of this video when I was trying to record and showing stuff I bought. I didn't show this, and I should show this now. Because it's wet outside, you want to get these connected up correctly. So I bought this pack of 45, and I'll probably put a link or show this up. So what this is, if you're familiar with wiring, you're probably familiar with something like this, where you put all your wire in there and you wind it up. But you may not be familiar with this. What this is fun goop. So the idea is you take all this stuff, wire it up, shove it in here, and all this goop gets around it to waterproof it. And you slap it down, and you're good to go. So you use it in places like this where you're wiring things up, or for like low voltage lighting, so you can stay outside and things like that.
At this point, my recording went really bad in the wind, but what I'm saying here is take one wire from each valve, it doesn't matter which one, and connect them all together, and this is going to be the common wire. And what you do is you wrap that all up, and then you take what is the common wire from your sprinkler, which in my case happens to be the white wire, and that's how I wired it up, and then wrap it all together, and then you're good to go. So that's the common wire. It doesn't matter which one, but you need one from each valve.
And get them all connected, hopefully. Get that in there. See how well this... It is a lot of wire, but it should hold pretty well, I hope. Okay, we got all that. I've actually never used this before. Looks like we have little wings there and wings there, so we should be able to shove this thing in. And then we should get some goop out the other end.
How far do you go?
I think you go as far as you can because the goop pushes back. And see that gel popping back out there? So that way the water can't come in. Now, normally you don't have 57 wires like I have right now, but we'll snap it closed as best I can. I've actually never tried this before, so this will be a first for me. Looks like I can split them between the two and probably get it snapped, maybe. Oh. Yeah. Through which one hole?
Is it supposed to go through the side like that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. They're not through the top. That's sealed right there. Because you got that goop. So that should be good. And then what I have now, I've got to grab each one. So this one has got the common wire. Then I grab the other one from here. In this case, I know this one is the green one. That's what I've wired up in the past. And so I'll wire those together. And I'll get the goop on here in a minute, but I'll just get this on for now. Get that good on there. And I'm going to clean all that up and put the waterproofing on later, because right now I want to go hook the wiring up in the house and make sure the old ones are working and make sure the new ones would work. Okay, here's how best I can probably show it. It depends on what, this is our Rainbird thing. So what I did is I took out number 1 and I put this orange in number 1, so that should be the one we're working with right now, just as a test. And then for this guy, I go to manual station, and then I can choose number 1, and then I can hit the button here, and it will start. So we actually went through the original 1 through 4, and they're working, so hooray. So now I want to show this one, but it's hard to show when you got to run over there. So should run over there, And when she's over there, I'll push the button, and hopefully it's working. Okay, here we go. Boom. Alright, it's working. Hooray. So, cool. That one's working. So now I'm going to go test the other two to make sure all 7 are working correctly. And then make sure the wiring's working correctly. Then I'll put the caps in and seal them all nice. And then we'll go on the next step. Okay, finally to the last piece. So I have some extra sprinkler wire, so I just wound it up here to get out of the way. And then what I had to do, hope my camera crew doesn't fall into the pit now. These boxes are set up such a way you just cut away stuff. So I just had to cut away some stuff for this big one, and so the big one should go plop right down here, and you can see we're good. You can get plenty of space there. And that one was actually pretty good how they cut it originally. And I had to take this one, cut out this big section. You can see how ugly a job I did. I just took a Dremel to it basically. And then now, boom, we're all good. Now, there's more to come, so once we get this all done, we'll backfill this with rocks. Fill it all the way up here, and have these coming out. So then we can just hide them real easily, right? But we still have access to them, so that's a nice thing. So, we're done with this stage.
Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like. To subscribe, just click the subscribe button. Also, you can follow me on Twitter under the handle @whiteboardcoder.com. View any code I may have thrown up as a gist at GitHub under the username PatmanDenver, or check out my blog site at whiteboardcoder.com.